o'clock. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees for Tuesday, January 26, 2021. If everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all. Oh, let's see here. Before us, we have our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by fellow board members or department heads at this time?
None from me.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you. So the agenda will stand as presented. The first item that we have is unfinished business, and I'm going to turn that over to Ms. Campbell.
All right, thank you. I have a resolution before the board to continue to offer the Family First Coronavirus Response Act, or FERCA, to all employees for reasons related to COVID-19 from December 31st, 2020, until which time the board deems it's no longer feasible to do so.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second, discussion.
This is because the FERCA actually expires on December 31st of 2020. However, we are still in the midst of the pandemic. We do have a lot of employees who are testing positive, and I don't think, given the deadline of December 31st, really goes in playing with where we're at in the pandemic.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
And that's the end of unfinished business.
Thank you. It's going to take us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a request for resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $660,752.42.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a request for resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a request for resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
I will move on fiscal officer number 3.
I'll second.
Second, Brooke. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
And Fiscal Officer number 4 is the investment report.
Anybody's got questions, feel free to see Tom afterwards.
And that concludes the Fiscal Officer report.
Okay. Thank you. The administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize payment to Everbridge Nixle, used for public notifications and a system alerts in Plain Township.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Lisa, is this year 3 or 4 or has it been longer than that?
Gosh, I think it's been longer than that. I think it's
Because
over 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
It seems so new, but yeah,
Yeah.
we've had it for a bit.
Time flies.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment to Canton Data Print for the printing and postage of the 2021 Spring Township newsletter.
I will so move.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless.
yes,
Thank you. That's the end of the administrator report.
Thank you. Fire Department, Chief Schallenberger.
Okay, thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the purchase and payment of one 2021 Ford F-150 from Wacom Auto Family Group, not to exceed $46,000.
I
So
will
moved.
move on FD number 1.
Second, discussion. Just to clarify, this is to replace the battalion vehicle, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
yes,
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment for Knox boxes and accessories not to exceed $4,500 to be taken from funds 10A09I and 28A05.
So moved.
second,
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
yes,
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
All right. Item number 3 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment of one powered load system from the Stryker EMS Corporation not to exceed $26,000.
I will so move.
second,
Second. Brooke.
Brooke, discussion. Chuck, is this for the new international unit that we just took delivery of? Or what's this one?
Actually, it'll be for the last remount ambulance.
Okay,
The new one already has one in it, and this will be the last remount ambulance. I had to order one more for it. So
okay. Thanks for that clarification. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
yes,
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
thank you. Item number 4 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize changes for the new Medic 5, including labor and accessories to MedWorks Crossroad Ambulance, not to exceed $5,000 to be taken from Fund 28A05.
so moved,
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
yes,
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
All right, I appreciate it. That's end of fire department.
Thank you, Chuck. It's going to take us to the road department. Joe?
Chairman, only one item tonight, and that would be the annual Township Highway System Mileage Certificate for the year 2020 from ODOT, which the board has already signed. We lost 0.40 miles of road. I do believe it's mainly from the Meadow Lake annexation.
Okay. Now, since we've already signed that, do we still need to make a motion to,
No resolution needed.
okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to be sure. Okay,
That's all I have.
perfect. Thank you, Joe. Next item, zoning, Tom?
Thank
Gerard?
you. Next, the first item on the agenda is a resolution to discuss a zone change, to set a date for the hearing to discuss a zone change. The address is 8100 Cleveland Avenue, Canton, Ohio. Current zoning on the property is a B2 General Business District, and the applicant is seeking to change the zoning to an I1 Light Industrial. The hearing will take place at the next trustee meeting on February 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
I don't know, thank you, Tom. Before we get there was a lot of static just going on in the background. So if you're not talking, I'd ask that you mute your line.
Did you want to do that again?
No, in short, we're passing a resolution to set a hearing for February 9th for a zone change. And the address was already noted, 8100 Cleveland, which
Correct.
would be what's known to everybody in the general public is the Fisher Foods grocery store on North Cleveland Avenue.
So I will move on zoning number 1.
Second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless.
Yes.
And that's all for zoning tonight, Jim, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Okay, nothing on our parks, nothing on the law director, nothing on our communications. It brings us to the portion of the meeting, public speaks. If there's anybody on the line that wishes to address the Board of Trustees, we would ask that you clarify your name and your address. And then that's for the fiscal office. And then once that information's been provided, you can proceed. Do we have anybody? Okay, it looks like the gentleman.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Dan Ganaba, Gnabah. I live at 1047 Shelley Street, Northeast. I am, my concern, which both Mr. Hawes and Mr. Iacino are aware of, are with the lot to the immediately west of me, parcel number 1000558, and the amount of runoff water that goes into that lot. And the person that bought the lot, one Mike Kachowski, continues to fill this lot, which I am told he is allowed to do. But that the amount of water that is displaced is a concern to me because it's all going to end up in my position. And again, I've talked to you guys both. Is there any further discussion on taking care of any storm sewer situations going on with that?
Well, I think as I had clearly communicated when I met out on site with you, along with the Stark County Soil and Water representatives, the water you're talking about is one all off-road drainage based upon the topography maps that Soil and Water provided. That does not fall under township jurisdiction. That falls to the county. Furthermore, Joe, do you care to chime in about the pipe that was out along Market? I think that ODOT had upsized a while
Yes.
back.
Yeah, that would have been Stark County Engineers, upside that back in 2018, July 10th. When they originally installed the drainage system on Apple Grove, there was a manhole in the way and the pipe was too small. So we did increase it. But part of the problem now, and has been in the past, it's not the size of the pipe, it's the empty lot did not drain quick enough to that pipe, which is all off-road, so we couldn't go in there and do any digging off-road. I did go by there today. There is more fill put in that lot. But I gotta believe the guy's gonna have to do some kind of work to keep the water off the house he's gonna build. He's gotta be able to do some drainage work around that new home, would be just my guess.
So
This is what I come to you today because I have gone to the state and they told me it's not their problem. I've gone to the county and they have told me it's not their problem. Doesn't have anything to do with wetlands, that it's strictly a township problem.
And that is not correct, because Stark County Soil and Water told you while I was on site that it was an off-road drainage. And essentially Stark County Soil and Water clearly told you that it would be a private party matter that you would need to get an attorney involved with, because at that point you had indicated that you had retained legal counsel
Which,
and
yes.
would pursue that. So, I mean, it really is a private party matter.
Here's the thing, is that the amount of water, and I've got new videos that I'll share with you and Joe at a later time, that comes off of this. Once that lot is filled in, that amount of water is going to jet right out into State Route 43. And so passing cars are going to have an issue transversing that. Not only that, but again, the water that's coming from the other directions, from the north and the northeast, is all going to end up in my backyard. I know this is a matter between me and the builder, but if we could fix the drainage system, then that would allow the builder to build. Because I really don't want to stop him from building. I want to fix the problem, because even if he builds, even if they say, you know, there's nothing you can do and build, this water's coming. And if it's not going to be a problem for me, it's going to fill up the places on the other side of me as well. So I'm not only talking for me, I'm talking for my neighbors, which there are 2 wellheads, and you saw the wellheads that are low lying. Those can be overcome. My sewer clean out is going to get covered up too. So I'm faced in the fact of, if that water is rising, you know, do I commit an illegal act and uncap my sewer drainage and let the water drain there, which I know I'm not allowed to do. And so I'm in a desperate position here that, and you saw the amount of water that sits in that, and I think you can agree that that's a lot of water, and a simple ditch isn't going to displace that. So my only question is, where does it go? And great, I could take him to court, and they've told me I could spend $10,000 to $15,000 to litigate this, of money that's what I've got. And if I lose the case and he builds the house, my house fills with water anyways. Both him and other people have told me, well, you don't know that's going to happen. But again, with you guys that have seen the amount of water that lot holds, where else is it going to go? And so I'm asking for help. I'm to the point where I need help.
Dan, one thing, the drainage system that drains that lot is a county maintained storm sewer. It crosses Market Avenue and goes down Apple Grove. It's not even on a township maintained storm sewer. If you remember, when I was out there, we got the county to come out and they did the work to move that, to enlarge.
Okay, so, okay, because
I don't know why
talked to each.
I don't know why they're telling you that they have nothing in this.
This is my frustration, because I've talked directly with each one of the county commissioners themselves, who have all told me the same thing. This is not our problem. And even
if you would, let me interject real quick.
Yes.
The reason the county commissioners are trying to tell you it's not their problem is, Lisa or Eric, try to keep me straight here, but approximately 2 years ago, the county commissioners got an opinion from the Stark County prosecutor's office that indicated that they could no longer use county funds to address the off-road drainage matters, and it was based upon some type of statute or decision. And ultimately, if anything would be coordinated through the county, it's a cost that's assessed back to a property owner or property owner. So I don't know if that's the context in which they're trying to use this, but it still doesn't negate from trying to step this all the way back. Before your allotment ever existed, a developer would have had to come in, go before regional planning, submit it. It goes before township zoning as well. Township zoning is simply looking at setbacks from property lines and so forth. Whereas regional planning is responsible for specifying all of the infrastructure that goes with it. And
yes,
they have to meet a certain grade. So like before Joe ever accepts any of the roads within these new allotments in the township, and at the time, what would have been, Joe's equal, back then they would have had to say, okay, hey, these roads meet this quality grade. We'll assume them. But any type of drainage or water that's up through there, to Joe's point, a lot of that between the lots is all tying back into county specs, and now the county is the one that's wanting to wash their hands up of it. Joe, is that a?
That's basically yeah, in a nutshell, Scott, yes.
Because
Yeah.
I've got,
The
go ahead.
the engineers had forwarded me to the hydraulics engineer. And and I can't recall her name right at the moment. We traded several different emails, and her last email was, "This is not my problem. Talk to your township trustees." So going forward from this, do you guys have to approve a building permit for him to start building? Do you have to approve for him to fill?
That's the count one. It starts at the county building department. The only thing and Tom Ferrara, keep me honest here as well, from a township zoning permit issuance, it would strictly be with the setbacks from the property lines. That would be really the only element that the township has any say on as it relates to new construction.
That's
so
correct.
If we tell him, hey, it's 20 foot from this, 30 foot from that, as long as he's on those setbacks, that's the only thing we have legal means to enforce. Otherwise, it's county building department.
Okay. As far as filling the lot full of dirt, you don't have anything to do with that either. He doesn't have to have a permit to make that happen.
It's his property. He has the right to do, to a degree, what he wants with it.
Very good, very good. Okay, I don't want to use up any more of your time. I just I need a direction to go, and I keep getting bounced back from place to place, and so I will approach it from the county again. And in the meantime, I do have videos of the latest storm with the water that comes right down Shelley Street. That's mid shin deep, that I'll share with you guys as well, so you could see the amount of water that does come down there in a live feed.
From a water aspect, and this is a little bit of a historical view. There used to be a hydraulics engineer with the county engineer's office who's since retired. Before he left the county engineer's department, Gary Connors actually would handle a lot of these review and assess. And then Gary transitioned to the county commissioner's office. Joe, was it for maybe a year, 2 years at best?
It was probably 2 years. Yes.
So the county engineer sort of, I don't want to say this, disparagingly, but they sort of, their hands were clear of the drainage because, okay, hey, it falls under the commissioners, and that's, Gary was reporting to the commissioners for 2 years. Well, then it was after he was already there that the prosecutor's office rendered the opinion that, told the county commissioners that they no longer are permitted to appropriate funds for these type of things. So what the county commissioners did is they created the off-road drainage program through Stark County Soil and Water. So Soil and Water is, at the end of the day, the county commissioners representative. There's no different than John, Brooke, or anybody else on this one. None of us are hydraulics engineer experts, but that's where Soil and Water, through their resources, is relied on as the subject matter expert. So I'm trying to think, outside of soil and water, if your attorney even sends them a letter, explaining, hey, I understand at the end of the day, Stark County Soil and Water is the endpoint, is a county representative for drainage issues. However, here's what I'm facing in, the township, and you can share with them the video link of this meeting, because it's recorded and it'll be on YouTube. It'll lay out, you can provide that. is further evidence, because unfortunately, I think some of the folks lower down within the ranks who may have fielded the call, and not necessarily the feet out on the street, just because it's within a political jurisdiction, they may believe it's ours when they don't, you know, understand the right of ways and responsibilities. So soil and water is absolutely where I was. Joe, would you agree with that, or is there anywhere else that you would?
No, I'd have to agree 100%, Scott, that soil and water have taken over all the work for the commissioners on off-road drainage. And that's who we use for anything off-road and any complaints that we get. And Dan, did you ever fill out a complaint form to them?
Absolutely. They came out and they were out there when Scott
That's
was
when
out
I
there
was
as
out.
well. And they told me that they had no jurisdiction in this matter. For one, it wasn't wetlands, and for two, the property size in question was under an acre, and they don't have any jurisdiction outside of properties smaller than an acre.
Well,
So
that
they couldn't do
true.
anything.
That is true, but I didn't know if they looked at the whole drainage area where the water was all coming from. If they just looked at the lot size, that is true.
Yeah.
Nothing underneath.
But to
I showed him pictures of, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to interject, I think it's important if you have video showing all of that water, that goes to soil and water too. And then maybe they'll evaluate it a little differently.
Okay. I just want to let you know that my goal isn't to stop people from living their lives and earning a
But it's
living. My goal is to protect my own interests.
Absolutely.
And I need help to do that.
Understood.
Because I can't stop the water from coming. It's coming. So thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you, Dan. Is there anybody else on the line that wishes to address the Board of Trustees? Okay, seeing none, we will proceed forward. Concerns of trustees, Brooke or John, do either of you have anything?
No, I have none.
No, sir.
Concerns of the fiscal officer, Tom?
No concerns.
Okay, that's going to take us to the approval of the minutes for January 12th, 2021, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Okay, next I will make a motion to adjourn at 6:28 p.m.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.